Hi, since you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you're a high achiever and you don't just want to live an average life. You want the best for yourself and you want the best for those around you as well, for the people you love, right? And obviously for that to happen, you need to become successful first. But here's the question. How do you know who you're meant to become? How do you know what skills you want to have in the future? How do you know what character traits you want to develop? How do you know who you want to become, essentially? And I've been asking myself this question for quite a long time, for years. And honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think it's a question that you ever stop asking yourself. Because you can always become better, you can always grow a little bit more, right? So it's kind of like this constant battle of just ascending higher and higher. But here's how I think about the foundation of this process, getting the basic or the must-have skills and character traits that would form the foundation for your ideal self, for your dream self, right? The foundation that precedes whatever you will become in the future. And all you gotta do to figure this out and start getting on this journey to get some clarity on who you want to become is to think about the people that you admire the most. Whether it's someone who's physically in your life, like your friend or your mom or whatever, your boss, whatever it happens to be, or whether it's an online personality that you really, really and deeply admire, even if you've never met them, okay? But very importantly here, by admiration, I don't mean logically and rationally thinking that they're worth being admired because they have money or because they are successful, they have these accolades, or because they're famous and people like them and so on and so forth. This is not about the logical thinking aspect. What I'm referring to is think about the people who you feel emotionally inspired by, okay? So look for the feeling of admiration, not for the thought. And once you discover one such person, and by the way, you don't have to limit yourself to one, you can have multiple ones of them, and I'll give some examples a little bit later in just a second actually, with what are my specific traits. I have them listed on this little page, but try to find out who these people are and then write down what it is about them precisely that triggers that feeling in you, right? What it is exactly about them which does that. And so let me start. I'm going to read from this list. What are my skills and traits that I definitely want to develop as a foundation? And the first one, this is really important to me, is I truly admire someone who's optimistic. I've been pessimistic for a long time and it just feels really bad. It just sucks being a pessimist and always expecting the worst and always crying and criticizing yourself and so on and so forth when things don't go your way. But someone who's optimistic, who expects the best, who has a positive attitude and is in a kind of a good mood even when things don't work out, is so inspiring. To be honest with you, I definitely want to train this optimism. I truly believe it's a habit that you can train, right? So I'm gonna do that. Now, the second one is I admire somebody who doesn't take himself or herself too seriously, And here I don't mean somebody who doesn't respect themselves, but someone who doesn't try to show off. Someone who doesn't try to convince everyone else that, oh, look how much of an alpha male I am, or how successful I am, and so on. It's not about that. I prefer the chill, laid-back attitude, someone who doesn't try to seem above others, and instead has a positive attitude even towards the people who maybe are not on their level, Like with a waiter at the restaurant. If you're a millionaire and you're talking to a waiter at the restaurant, just be nice to them. Don't try to show off and things like that. So yeah, the next one is pretty self-explanatory. I like somebody who's kind, loving, and empathetic, right? When it comes to masculinity in particular, I think there's these two different categories. There's the colder type of guy, the lone wolf who's grinding and working on himself. He doesn't seem so approachable. He's kind of, scary looking and so on. But I prefer the other side, the warmer type of person. Because I think this fits my personality better, to be honest with you. And I just prefer the calm type. Which this also brings me to the next point, which is I'm really inspired by someone who has great social skills, I should say. Okay, I think social skills is just a thing that makes your life better in whichever context you find yourself in. Okay, and not only does it make your life better because people are more attracted to you, whether in a platonic way or romantic way, people respect you more, people love staying around you more, but you also seem to have more fun when you're just going through life. When you have fun in social situations. It's like a game that you can play with people and you're having fun along the way. I think it just improves the quality of life for whoever decides to get better at this, right? So social skills definitely a must do in my book. The next one, this is probably the most inspiring of all for me personally. I get really excited and really hyped up when I hear somebody who has amazing communication skills. Okay, it's just so inspiring to me. And right now I'm trying to get better at communication. Actually, I have Vinh Giang as kind of a role model because I have his course and I've been practicing for like the past 2 months or so. And it's going pretty well, it's going pretty well. And yeah, I just like the guy. He seems so friendly, so approachable, so full of energy. And you tend to feel like people love being around him. And it's something I like. And another person, if you're familiar with chess, then you'll probably know Levi Rosman or Gotham Chess. I've heard him once. He was a commentator on a match in the Speed Chess Championship, I believe 2025-2026, a game between Hikaru and Alireza. And I don't know, man, he was just so good. He was smooth. He was always full of energy, like he had high energy. He didn't stumble. He had humor. He was just amazing. And it just feels so inspiring to me. I love someone who can communicate really well. So again, definitely something that must be on my to-do list. And I have 3 more for you. The first of these last 3 is going to be someone who's creative. You can't not admire someone who's creative, right? Not creative in the artistic sense necessarily, like knows how to sing or how to play the guitar, but creative in how they think, in how they come up with ideas, with random examples or stories or concepts that link together in a way that you didn't expect they could. Okay, I also love somebody who's bold and vulnerable. Again, I'm going back to the masculinity type of the cold type of masculinity. This is not about somebody who's obnoxious and who tries to force other people into doing what they want, but somebody who's not afraid to show up as themselves, with no armor, with no protection, with nothing, who just shows up as who they genuinely are. It's so inspiring. Again, it's definitely something to respect and to admire because it takes a lot of courage, and not many people have this kind of courage, and it's something I'm working towards right now as well. And the last one I would say is somebody who's kind to himself. This is probably the latest addition to the list because I've been reading this book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And it just said that, in a chapter, it said that happiness is actually a habit. Okay, happiness is the habit of choosing positive thoughts most of the time. Not all of the time. You can't be happy all of the time because sometimes shit happens in our lives. But if you manage to choose, it's a choice, a conscious choice. If you manage to choose positive thoughts most of the time, you're going to be happier. And hence, you're going to be kinder to yourself. You're going to encourage yourself when you fail. If you fail and, or let me put it this way. If your friend does something and they fail, if you go to them, you're probably not going to criticize them. You're going to encourage them like, hey, you tried this. Yes, you failed right now, but you'll get it the next time, right? That's kind of what you would say to your friend. So why are we often not saying those things to ourselves? That's what I was wondering for a long time. And now I finally want to do these things. I want to be kinder to myself, more supportive with myself, even when things don't go my way. Okay? So this is my list of the must-haves in my dream future self. And yeah, I just thought about some of the people that I admire. And this is what I came up with. So hopefully this is going to be helpful to you too. You're going to find your people, you're going to find your traits and your skills, and you're going to have a direction or at least a little bit of clarity into where you're going towards. Okay, so hopefully you found this helpful, and we're gonna see each other into the next one. Until next time.